Oh, it's Johnny Mullet here with the next episode on the Skoolie maintenance and repair series. This is how to replace an oil cooler on a T444E 7.3 International or 7.3 Ford Power Stroke engine. This is the old oil cooler here. This is the new one. I was filming on putting this together with the new O-rings, but I had to pause it because it really fought us trying to get it together and the video shut off. So I'm starting all over. So basically there are O-rings. There's an O-ring here and another O-ring here. Okay, so when you have your old cooler off of the engine, which I'll show you how to do, you got to work with what I used was a filter wrench, a strap type, and then worked it back and forth to loosen the O-rings that are in here, and then pull, and that end would twist off, and then the same with this end here. You just keep pulling and twisting, and then eventually it pops off the O-rings. And then I cleaned these two pieces up real good, and then I also cleaned the gasket material. Now the kit I got is this Napa 6002001 oil cooler kit, and it came with the new cooler, 4 new O-rings that I already have installed since I have this together, and it comes with new gaskets. And these gaskets, if I get them in the right direction, go there, and this other gasket, well, you get the general idea. Right there we go, goes here. So let me go over to the bus and show you exactly how to pull it off. The thing I had to do was drain the coolant out of the radiator, and you can see right here, that's where the front part of the oil cooler bolts on. There's only 2 bolts, and there's the water filter. I went ahead and replaced it while I was in here because the old one was pretty nasty and it was rusty, and it's been on there a while. So there's a new water filter there. 2 bolts hold the front half of the cooler on, and we will go downstairs. By the way, this is the kind of mess you're going to run into when you pull that cooler off. Even after draining your coolant out of the engine, even after draining the oil out of your engine, you are going to lose tons and tons of coolant and oil. Okay, so I already showed you the front part right there. Bolts on, and the cooler goes back, and there's where the back part goes. And there's 3 bolts that hold the back side on. So basically you pull 3 bolts out of the back. You gotta disconnect your block heater if you have one installed. It's a simple thread off the plug and pull the plug out, and then 2 bolts here, and then the mess will start flying everywhere, and the oil cooler will come off quite easily. But let me show you how we press this thing together. So even after lubricating with oil the new O-rings and trying our hardest, we could not get these pieces to push on easily. The bench vise wasn't big enough. I tried using a rubber mallet while holding force on it, and that would not press together. What we had to do is we actually used the car lift. You can see this block of wood right here. We basically raised the lift up, we set the assembly inside, and slowly lowered it down and tapped with the hammer until it finally seated. That's how much force it took to get that oil cooler installed. It was a royal pain in the butt, but we got it. And the next step will be, I already got the material gasket surfaces all cleaned up, so we're ready to install the oil cooler. And the reason I'm changing the oil cooler is I had coolant in my engine oil. I noticed the coolant kept going low and I couldn't find a leak, and eventually I checked my oil and I noticed it had a milky residue to it. And a good telltale sign of coolant being in your engine oil is by looking at the oil cap, and you can see the milky residue, the substance from the coolant that was mixing with the engine oil. You do not want to run your engine with coolant in the oil. You will wipe out the bearings and totally destroy the engine. So good thing I caught this now and caught it right away. So step 1, drain the coolant. Step 2, remove the block heater connector. Step 3, remove 5 bolts. The oil cooler comes off of the engine. And then, just like I showed you over there, we assemble the new cooler and we get it going and get it together. Now we just gotta put it on the bus.